Everybody can set a goal. Everybody can say, I will hit $1 million. I will hit 100 millions of dollars. But first obstacle arises, 99% of people give up. So if you don't have a reason why that is deep within you, you will give up.
You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 341. And today we're going to talk about the change you need to make to your mindset so you can reach into 7 figures and beyond. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson, possibility igniter and authority amplifier for experts just like you. And today we're going to talk about one of my most favorite topics, mindset. And there's a few times in the history of the show when I have had a guest that lit my fire and got me so inspired. And we were almost always talking about mindset, because mindset to me is the fuel behind a successful business enterprise. And I came from a place in my own business where I was stuck, I was challenged, I could not see a path in front of me. And doing mindset work unleashed an internal clarity and power that made me unstoppable. And every time I encounter anything that feels slightly or remotely stuck in my business, I turn to mindset work. And so I love sharing mindset resources for you. And today's guest is just brilliant. I hope you love his story as much as I did. And he's got some really great, very powerful insights to share with you. Now, there's a place where I see mindset really showing up for a lot of the coaches and consultants, people who are building a business around their wisdom and their expertise, and that is in your confidence about getting your message out and getting your work out in a bigger way. And I see it impacting how you showcase your work in the world and how much you do to show up and be visible. And not too long ago, I put a new quiz out to help people just like you, if that's resonating with you, to identify what's really holding you back from stepping into your brilliance, stepping into your expertise, and showcasing that in a bigger way. And I call it my authority quiz. And I would love for you to take the quiz today and to unpack what's really holding you back from being visible and showcasing your work so that you can get paid more, so that you can get booked more to speak, so that you can get more clients, and ultimately you can have that greater impact that I know you really want to have. So if you head to melaniebenson.com/authority quiz, and I'll link that up in the show notes, I want you to go through this very simple quiz. It'll take you 2 minutes, and make sure at the end to put your name in so you can get the results and a little bonus training that comes with it. So again, go to melaniebenson.com/authority quiz, or just click the link in the show notes. Now let's get to this conversation with my special guest. Welcome back, Amplifiers. Man, you have an amazing guest you're about ready to hear from. I cannot wait to unpack this conversation. I've got a guest, a young entrepreneur who went from delivering Uber Eats to building a 7-figure business in less than 3 years. Let me introduce you to Vash Tomanec. He is a 25-year-old serial entrepreneur who has built not just one, not two, but 3 successful 7-figure businesses. His latest venture, Mindpreneur, with his latest venture, Mindpreneur, Vash is on a mission to help 1 million entrepreneurs transform their business and live more fulfilled and joyous lives by mastering their mindset. He does it through one-on-one and group coaching, various online programs, in-person masterminds hosted 4 times a year. And Vash is coming to us from Eastern Europe today. Yes? Where are you at exactly again?
Yeah, from the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, yeah. Well, we were catching up in the green room a little bit, and we're
Mhm.
literally on opposite sides of the world, but that just makes us even more interesting and more exciting. So, Vash, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Melanie. Very excited for the conversation.
So, I have a bazillion questions I want to ask you, but for the sake of time, I'm going to hone them in. But let's start a little bit with how, at 25 years old, you have already created three successful companies that have reached seven figures. Like, how did you get started on this journey?
Yeah, so a lot of people will think that very likely I had entrepreneurial family, which is not the case. Nobody in my family is entrepreneur. Many people think that I inherited some money. Not that case either, because I was still delivering food for Uber Eats, but not in my car, but on my bike just 3 years ago. And I believe, Melanie, how come the thing started to click very quickly is not because I had some secret strategy, some secret business model, but it's something I truly believe in, which is the mindset, which is basically the inner side of any entrepreneur. And what happened is, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad that many listeners very likely read as well. And that just opened my eyes to what is possible. I'm from the Czech Republic. Nobody's in my family entrepreneur. So my view was very limited to what is possible, what I can do. But after reading this book, I knew I want to be one day entrepreneur. But I was procrastinating on it. I wasn't doing much for that. And the more I delivered the food, I realized there are people in their 30s, 40s, not living happy life. They couldn't provide for their family. They couldn't take their families to the vacation they wanted. And that's when I decided I must change. It's time to truly commit to make my dream of starting a business reality. And so I decided to do few things. I decided that in the next 90 days, I want to hit $10,000 profit with a business that didn't exist, which is a very bold goal to me because I was earning probably $1,000 back then. But I knew that even if I shoot or aim high and fall short, I will still be further ahead than if I think small. So I decided, Melanie, to do three actions. Every day, I would do 10 videos for my potential customers. I started a marketing agency. That's my first business. So I would send 10 videos to potential customers. I would study sales for an hour and I would visualize for 15 minutes that the goal is already a reality. And what happened after 630 videos? I sent 630 videos and nothing happened. No meetings, no clients, no money, no more closer to my goal. But I knew, Melanie, that everybody is going to give up at this point, or vast majority of people. But I knew that my goal is inevitable. And in the next 27 days, I made it happen. So I believe I got this start because I was just committed to make it happen. I had a clear outcome I want to hit, and I took daily small actions that would get me there closer. And I believe this was the formula to get the business kind of going. And then we started scaling from there.
That is so inspiring. You gave such a brilliant mindset coaching session there just in sharing your story. And as you're listening in, I really want you, and you may need to hit reverse and listen to that again because there's so much powerful wisdom in that story. And what I want to bring attention to is the power of a decision. You made a decision. And that decision became a catalyst, and you didn't give up on the decision when it became inconvenient and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's
100% agree.
magnificent.
Because decision to me is you cut off the other possibilities.
Yes.
So it wasn't no longer like, oh, okay, I can still go back, deliver the food. No, it was almost like, this is done, I'm finished. I'm going to make the dream a reality. And also, it's kind of the difference between being committed or interested, because a lot of people are interested in having great body. They're interested in having business. They're interested in making loads of money, but they're not truly committed. So they do the bare minimum. They do some actions there and there. It's very scattered, very not in a focused way. And then once the obstacle arises, oh, I guess it's not for me. I guess the market is too saturated. And that's the moment when most people just give up because they're interested. But if you're committed, an obstacle arises, you will go through the wall, you will go around it, you will go under it, you will jump over it, whatever it takes to make the dream happen. And I believe for the dream to make it happen and have this inner fire inside of you, I believe you need inner motivation. You can't have external motivation like some YouTube video that motivates you for 2 hours. You need this inner desire. And for me, it was two things. First, I never wanted to sit on the bike ever again, which was motivating me a lot back then. And second is I wanted to help my parents because, again, Czech Republic, again, it's not super wealthy country, I would say. And my parents are living very normal life, but I would love more for them for what they provided. So that was driving me forward. And I believe as a result, even I didn't get much traction after 630 videos, I still knew that I'm not going to stop until it's done.
Mm. That's such a great story. And I love that you brought in the power of why, because I think sometimes our why isn't big enough. And it's just so easy to dismiss it, or we're in a place of comfort, and that comfort is giving us the illusion we have enough, but really we're just kind of holding ourselves back. And you covered so much ground in that example there.
Yeah,
Why do you
because
think? Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
you go.
Well, I want to just kind of add on to this, because I studied mindset as well. We've probably read many of the same books and studied a lot of the same great teachers, but I see people give up on the dream. They give up on the outcome. They give up on the result that they've been going towards, almost as if it's like they're just so close, but they can't give it anymore. Like, why do you think people give up before they see results, especially if they're not happening fast enough?
Yeah, because they're just doing it for the external result. They're doing it for the outcome, not for the process. Many people want great physique, but they don't want the process of getting to that great physique. Many people want successful business, but don't want the process, the ups and downs. And I tell people you need to fall in love with the journey because 99% of the journey or time you spend on the journey. Like you might work 5 years to get to your, let's say, business goal. Then you celebrate it by opening a bottle of champagne. For a few days, you feel super happy. And then you go back to the grind in a way. So I tell people, if you fall in love with the journey, you don't care if it takes you a day, a month, a year. And the great example I can give you, I know you're in California. So imagine that you were driving the coast of California with beautiful views. You don't want to be the whole way when we will arrive to San Francisco, not looking at the scenery. These are people focus on the outcome. They just want to get to the destination. They don't care about the journey. But people who also enjoy the journey, those are the people who enjoy the whole process. So they're driving it, they're looking at the ocean, they're looking at the nature, and they're just, wow, this is incredible. And this is almost how I want it for all people. It's not that you focus so much on the outcome. So when you are not getting it, you get discouraged and you give up. I want you to fall in love with the journey. Fall in love with getting 1% better every day. Every video, I felt more comfortable. I felt more confident. I spoke with more conviction. And I saw the progress, Melanie, every day. And I was like, yes, this is what I love. And then I didn't care if it happens day 90, day 180, day 360, because I love the process. And then the outcome came almost as a byproduct.
Rich. This is so rich. I'm a mindset junkie. So, like, I'm just sitting here feeling so expanded and fulfilled in this conversation right now. And as you're listening in, this is a master class that you're getting. And I feel very privileged to be able to have this conversation with somebody who is more at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey. By the way, when did you actually start? Like, how old were you when you kicked off into this entrepreneurial journey that you're on?
Yeah, I was 22 when
So
I
literally
started.
you did this in 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm loving this. Okay. So I want to unpack what you just said a little bit more about the journey, because in theory, you and I studying the mastery of the mind and really being people who understand the value of the journey, because I agree with you. There are people who are going to have a hard time embodying that. They're the way they're wired, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, but I don't want the journey. Like, this is painful. I don't like doing these things. And I'm thinking of a very specific client right now who has had so much resistance to the steps to get to his outcome. And he's really in resistance about those steps. What would you say to somebody who gets that you need to love the journey, but they can't? They're just really resisting the steps. And so they're not taking the steps.
Yeah. Then I would answer it from two perspectives. The first perspective I would say is almost, are you truly want it? Because maybe somebody is trying to be entrepreneur. They're pushing, they're forcing because they read a book and they want to be entrepreneur. But they would be 100 times better off. They would be more happier if they got employed in a company where they could have freedom to express their ideas. I have multiple employees in my companies who I wouldn't say they're meant for entrepreneurship, but they're insanely good at what they are doing inside of the company. They are fulfilled, they are growing, they are paid well, all of these things. And so first perspective is almost, do you truly want it? Is the path for you? And second thing is, I tell people, okay, you set this goal, you achieve it, then what? For example, okay, you want a house, you bought it, then what? Then I want a car. Okay, then what? I will start second business. Then what? Then I will buy second home. And I almost go like this with 10 questions. Then what? And then almost we come to the end of their life. And they have multiple goals they want to achieve. But life is about the journey, right? To me, it's like life is the journey. You cannot say, I just want the house, because you get the house and then what? After a month, you will get familiar with the house. You will almost start asking yourself, what's next? And you might chase 5 years another goal, then 5 years another goal, and then you find yourself, you achieve some things, but you didn't have any fun along the way. So to me, enjoying the journey is the only way to enjoy life, because what else is to it? As I said, you will spend just little time in the destination, most of the time on the journey. So these would be two perspectives I would give to this person: is really evaluate or really question if this is meant for you, if you have so much resistance, or maybe there is a fear that is blocking you. Maybe you really want to be public speaker, but deep down there is a fear you're not good enough. And as a result, until you overcome this fear, you will always have resistance to public speaking, even though it's something you want to do, because there's some deep fear that is blocking you to kind of enjoy the task or the journey.
Yeah, I have so many questions that are popping into my mind, but I want to go a little bit deeper into this block of fear.
Yeah.
I know in the work that I've done with people around mindset over the years, and in my own journey, there are these powerful moments when we recognize the reason why we're not committed to the why, to the outcome, is because there is a internal block that is telling us inside that what we want is impossible in some way, shape, or form. Would you agree?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Almost like, yeah, go for your question.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I know what I would do, but I want to really I want you in the spotlight today. Like, this is all about Vash and what you teach. What would you say to somebody, or how would you help somebody recognize the block that's really in the way and choose to move through that block or dissolve that block, whatever your framework is around that?
100%. So I tell people, is the area you struggle with the most is the area you have some blocks. Maybe you have great relationships, but you're bad with finances. Okay, there are some blocks. Maybe you have great business success, but you have very terrible relationships. You have some blocks in the relationship side. So any area we struggle with, there are some blocks. And I usually come down to only two blocks. Either you have some fear there, or you have some limiting belief. For example, you might believe that all the good men are taken. That's not going to help you attract the relationship you want if you believe that. Or maybe you deep down, you believe you're not good enough, you're not good looking, or in business, you believe you have nothing of value to offer. So I tell people either it's limiting belief, or on the other hand, it's fear. When it's fear, maybe what other people will think of me, maybe fear of rejection, maybe fear of failure. All of these things I call irrational fears. Rational fear is you go to some dark alley in the evening in some unknown place, you better have fear. You better be alert. You better pay attention because you don't know what can happen. That's rational fear. But what some lady will think of you that you are never going to meet again, who is not giving a damn about you, that's not rational fear, that's irrational fear. And what I help people with is just I have this small little, we could say, sentence that I help people with anytime fear arises. Because people fight fear. Oh, I shouldn't be afraid. I shouldn't think what other people think of me. I shouldn't. And whatever you fight will fight back. Whatever you resist will persist. So I tell people rather than fight it, align it, which means fear arises. And I would say something like this: oh, hello, fear again. It's good to have you here. I know you're trying to protect me, but I've got this. So sit on the bench and watch me how I'm going to perform at this public speaking event. And almost like this, almost silly sentence, this silly story helps you to calm the fear down, the scared part of you down, so you can go and perform. And when you overcome it once, it will be easier to overcome it second time. And sooner or later, you will start feeling so confident that the fear will totally disappear. And this is kind of the fastest way, Melanie, I kind of use with fear. Of course, there are more techniques that go deeper, but this is something that is low-hanging fruit that people can start using today.
Ah, that's so good. I love it. I'm getting so much out of this conversation. I can't wait to hear what you, as you're listening in, what you're getting out of it. As a matter of fact, wherever you're listening to this, I would love, like, just jump into the comments or pop into the messaging and just, slide into my DMs, whatever, wherever you're at. Just let me know what your aha has been so far. I'm really feeling moved by this today. So you have a framework that you teach around helping people to achieve goals. Would you share a little bit about how that four-step framework works and how somebody might be able to put that into action?
Yeah, so as you probably can now hear, I'm a very practical guy. Even though mindset usually could be taken as some intangible things. A lot of people can call it woo-woo, or a lot of people can say, yeah, it sounds great, but how do I apply it? So I'm a very practical guy. So I developed this framework that anybody can use to achieve any goal, whether it's fitness goal, finance goal, business goal, relationship goal, doesn't really matter. And there are 4 steps to it. First, you need to have a clear vision what you want, because nowadays people don't know what they want, or Instagram tells them what they should want. But what do you truly want? That's the first question. When you open Google Maps, the first thing is, what is your destination? Otherwise, you don't know if you should go right, left, you should go forward, or you should turn around and go somewhere else. So first, know your vision, know where you're going. My first goal was very clear. In 90 days, I'm hitting $10,000 a month with my agency while working 5 hours a day. That was my vision. That was something I was striving for. Then, second thing, you need the reason why. Because everybody can set a goal. Everybody can say, I will hit $1 million. I will hit 100 millions of dollars. But first obstacle arises, 99% of people give up. So if you don't have a reason why that is deep within you, you will give up. So second, know your reason why. Third, what are 3 actions you can take every day to get one step closer to your dream? And this is something like maybe you want to lose weight, you can exercise for 15 minutes a day. You want to build a business, maybe you can start recording videos for potential customers as I did, or you can study leadership, you can study sales. What is few actions that you can do every day, not once a week, every day, that will get you closer to it. Because I tell people that intensity makes a good story, but consistency makes a progress. So rather than having New Year's resolution and going all in for 2 weeks and give up, rather do less longer, do less better. And that's the first step. So free action that will get you closer to that. And step number 4, super important. I believe this, Melanie, that the life you live today, the bank account, the impact you have, the body you have, the relationship you have was created by you. Nobody else did it. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame the economy, politics. Your life was created by you based on your behaviors, based on your beliefs, based on your thoughts. So if you want to create something new in your life, better relationships, more finances, better business, then you need to change something not about the external things, but about you. Because the Vash delivering food for Uber Eats, who was feeling insecure, not confident, who he was procrastinating, he would never achieve my goals. So I literally had to change first, and almost then the results follow. So the step number 4 is asking yourself, what areas of my life do I need to change to get there? And usually I look at thoughts, your current thoughts, your current behaviors, and your current feelings. And if you follow these 4 steps, that will work for any goal that you have in your mind.
Mm. That's a very simple but profound framework. I'm so glad you shared that with us. Vash, I know as people are tuning in, they're probably like, oh my gosh, like I've got to stay connected to this guy. Like he's got so much great content. And by the way, I believe that success is 90% mindset and 10% strategy. When you get the mindset right, the strategy is so much easier. But for many people, it's a lot of work to get the mindset right. And so surrounding yourself with mindset, I want you to make a commitment every day to consume something that elevates your mindset, that gets your mind thinking the way it needs to think, to get it believing what it needs to believe. And so, resources like Vash is about to share, I know are going to be something that you should be studying every day. So, Vash, how could somebody go a little bit deeper with you? Maybe get a resource that you have that is really helpful around this topic.
100%. I would say 2 ways. First is go to our website, which is mindpreneur.com. That's just mindset and entrepreneur together as one word, where you can find free resources. You can find our podcasts as well as some courses you can start studying. And if you have any questions about me, about something I shared, then LinkedIn, you can find me at Vash Tomanec, or on Instagram, which is Vash_Tomanek. And there you can just message me, ask me any questions. I would be more than happy to clarify or offer you any action steps you could take.
Nice. Thank you. And I know you mentioned to me in the green room something about a 7 days, 7 figures training that you have. Do you want to share what that is?
Yeah, so we were a little discouraged by certain people in the coaching industry who sells these big courses and then under deliver on their promises. So we decided to create an insanely valuable course. It's called 7 Days, 7 Figures, where we share the 7 principles I've used not to build 1, not 2, but 3 7-figure businesses. And the price tag is just $7. So it's absolute no-brainer. Instead of getting your double, triple mochaccino in Starbucks, whatever it's called, just spend $7 on this, and we will go deeper on the frameworks that help change my life, but now also thousands of people. So that would be something that your listeners can check out as well.
Oh, I'm so glad you shared that because that is a no-brainer investment. So 7 days, 7figures.com. And we'll link these up in the show notes for you to make it super easy. So wherever you're listening to this, if you look at the description for today's podcast, you'll see the links if that makes it easier for you. Gosh, I love asking my guests a couple of standard questions. I find there's so much illuminating information about who somebody is and the choices they've made. What would you say is the boldest thing you ever did that ended up amplifying the success of this business?
Yes, I can think of quite a recent one, which happened 6 months ago, which was again, I believe in think time, that we don't have enough time to think nowadays, that we just go from one thing to another and we don't have time to think. So I decided to do 7 days darkness retreat, it's called, where they close you in a room that is designed where there is zero light, zero light. And I decided to take it to the next level, that I will do it fasted, so just on water. So I spent 7 days in complete darkness with no human contact, and I did it on fasted kind of stomach, just water. And it's something that was definitely a bold decision, but it was one of the greatest decisions because I realized so many new insights. I sort out many things in my head so I can coach better and just create more impact in my life.
That is mind blowing to me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I give you kudos because there's no way in hell I'm doing that 7 day full darkness water
Mhm.
fast. So anybody that can do that is very, very resolved, I guess is the word that's coming to mind.
Mhm.
So really the outcome for you in doing that was clarity. And it sounds like some of your coaching models and frameworks maybe got more clear for you. Was there anything else that was
100%.
really profound?
100%, because nowadays we have so much information, but we don't have enough time to digest it all, right?
Mhm.
And almost in the darkness, because I studied a lot of inventors, and it rarely happened like some invention where they were on a whiteboard trying to figure it out. It usually was they were present, they were meditating, they were falling asleep, they were overlooking ocean, and all of a sudden they almost got a download. Like, I don't know how else to say it, that all of a sudden they receive a download, what they should do, what they should invent. And almost in the darkness started coming to me these coaching concepts that, for example, people sometimes ask me, especially on our coaching calls, like, where did you read it? And I said, I didn't read it in a book. It was like I was spending this dark time in darkness, and all of a sudden came some framework to me or some example to me. And so I believe what happened, Melanie, is that basically I studied a lot. I had so many coaching experiences that I had finally time to digest. And
Yeah.
as a result, I got more refined frameworks. And that was the key thing came there for. And I also realized a lot of things. I was very happy in the darkness with no food. So if I can be happy in darkness with no food, I can definitely be happy in this beautiful world that I call Disneyland, right? Where there's so many things happening, so much beauty. So yeah, there was big realization as well.
Wow. Talk about being in the present moment. That sounds
Yeah.
profound. Okay, so looking back, well, this is the last question, but looking back from today to the beginning of you starting your journey in business, is there one thing you wish you would have done sooner because now you know how impactful it was for you?
I would definitely start meditating sooner. Like, I meditated a lot. I had days I meditate 3 hours a day. I usually now do 45 minutes. And I recommend my students to do at least 15 a day because it stills the mind. You're more clear. You can make clear decision. The voice in your head is getting quieter and quieter. So there are multiple benefits to it. So I wish I started that sooner. But again, I believe life is a journey, so it was meant to happen the way it happened.
Yes, very true.
Mm,
We
mm,
when we study mindset, we know that everything is in divine timing and things are unfolding for our greatness as we go. And sometimes we're not ready for the thing until it
mm.
actually services.
Exactly.
And I would agree with you that meditation, stillness, learning to practice the mental reset of being in the present moment without the noise is a art that if you can really make that a habit, it serves you very well. So I'm glad you brought that one up. I don't think
Mhm,
anybody's ever said that before.
mhm, mhm.
Vash, thank you
Yeah.
so much. You are such an inspiration and a powerhouse. I'm so excited to share you with the Amplify community. Again, I'd love to hear your insights and takeaway from today as
Mm.
you're listening in. And be sure to go check out Vash and his resources. And I'd love to know if you go get his uh 7 million in
Days,
7 days, 7 million
7 days.
7days.com, his
Uh,
$7 program, because that sounds so fantastic. So Vash, thank you very much.
Thank you, Melanie, for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.